Hey, good morning or good afternoon, and welcome to our channel. Today, I'd like to discuss Section 8 income limits for beginners. Now, this is a simplified version of an earlier video that I made, and it's to help you better understand how the system works. Do understand also that when you deal with Section 8 housing vouchers and federal housing, these numbers can change a bit depending on the county and state that you're in. But for the most part, the federal guidance should work in terms of understanding what is actually going to be the limit of income. All right, before I get started, my name is Jay. I'm the owner of section8consulting.com, and today I'd like to present these income limits for you guys. I'm also going to put up a quick information about our company. And there we go. And you'll see that I'm going to move my face off to the right a little bit here. And there's a phone number, our website address, as well as email at the top. My office is by appointment only. I am not government subsidized. So therefore, the appointments are affordable, but are required in order to call us. Okay. So I'm going to bring in the notes real quick, and hopefully my cat does not disturb this video. And let's see here. I'm going to put him down. All right, income limits for beginners. So Section 8 housing voucher income limits are based on where you live and plan to rent, and the number of people in your household, the household expected annual income. And as you know, HUD publishes different limits for every county and metropolitan area for each year. There is no single nationwide income limit, and that's because people make more or less depending on where you live. And so we're going to move on into some of the categories here. It's preferable, obviously, that you have extreme low income or ELI, and that's at or below 30% of area median income. An easy explanation of that is, let's say that you live in Miami, Florida, and the average income for that city of all people working is about $100,000. I'm making that number up, obviously. So to be 30% of that, you would need to have 30,000 income or less. And so we move on. Next is very low income. So it's another category at 50% the area median income or less. And so let's say again, Miami at 100,000, that means you would be making 50,000 or less. And then you have just basic low income at 80% of AMI. So that means that your income would be 80,000 or less. Now, these numbers can seem rather significant when you live in places like New York and California, because 30% of a New York income can be quite high. And so you see that's how some people are able to get vouchers, and depending on the city. And it may seem like they're low income, but actually it's the AMI that determines that. For regular housing choice voucher admissions and applications generally must be extreme low income to very low income. Federal rules do require at least 75% of the housing authority's admissions for the waiting list for the fiscal year be extremely low income. That means that of all the categories, extreme low income, very low income, and basic low income, as I like to put it, 75% of all applicants must be at the extreme low income. The remaining value of 25% is issued for just very low income and standard low income or basic low income. Okay. So for the biggest majority of service, only the extreme low income are going to get the biggest chunk of the vouchers being offered. As I had mentioned, preferences make a big difference. So your income levels obviously are going to make a big difference. Moving on from there, for regular housing choice voucher admissions, again, 75% of the housing authority's admissions for the physical waiting year should be extreme low income. You can look this up under Title 24 Code of Federal Regulation 982.201. I'm going to link that up in the bottom. And just to be clear, guys, you don't need to take notes. I'm going to put that in the comments section and also description, including linkage. That way you can look into this for yourself. Important also to note is being below 80% low income limit does not automatically mean a person qualifies for a new Section 8 voucher. So to be clear, just because we mentioned 80% and 50% AMI, we know they want 75% of the vouchers go to people that are 30% below, and then we know that the remaining value of 25% is going to go to those below 50% and 80% AMI. But it doesn't mean that you're a guarantee. As a matter of fact, it gets harder to higher your income. So moving on from there, how to find your exact income limit? Well, we're going to use HUD's official FY 2026 income limit tool. Now, I understand this video could be in a different year or time, and so you can go to the same .gov in order to look up your newest year. So say we're in 2027, you can look at the applicable limits. The information and advice remains the same regardless of the year. So you will select a state, the county, metropolitan area, household size, and use the extreme low income or very low income columns when checking eligibility for the new Housing Choice Voucher. And so you're given some options there. It's a long list, so it's better to divide it down by per state, and then of course the county, and then of course they're only going to show you the first two options, which is 30% AMI and 50, because there's simply no guarantee if you're 80% AMI. Okay, housing authorities generally review the anticipated income of the household members for the coming 12 months. So they're looking figuratively at a 12 rolling months. So common income sources include paychecks, tips, overtime, regular self-employment income, Social Security retirement, SSDI, which is Social Security disability, and just standard SSI. This may also include unemployment benefits, pensions, retirement distributions, TAMP, cash, welfare benefits, child support, alimony received, interest, dividends, and other income-produced assets, and regular payments and financial support that are available to the household. Just to be clear, guys, there's roughly 13 pages of income and assets issued by the federal government, and we'll link up that there for you guys. It changes every now and then, about every 10 years, and it'll help you better understand what is income and what's an asset and how that will play out in terms of you utilizing a Section 8 voucher. Do not assume that income is excluded simply because it is non-taxable. For example, SSI and SSDI may be non-taxable for IRS purposes, which is a separate federal agency from the HUD being a federal agency, but are generally counted for Section 8. So, looking at this, it does change. Just because you have rules under the Social Security Administration or rules under the IRS or rules under HUD doesn't mean they all actually coalesce or the same. So you need to investigate each individually. Income that is commonly excluded. Federal rules exclude many items, including earned income of children under the age of 18, foster care payments, income of an approved living aid, loans that must be repaid, tax refunds, refundable tax credits when received, insurance settlements for personal and property loss, certain medical reimbursements, most one-time reoccurring gifts and payments, and certain student financial aid used for eligible educational expenses. And again, you're going to want to look at that. And again, we're going to put up to 13 pages for income and assets so you can get some clarity. In addition to that, student aid, trust, self-employment, assets, caregiver payments can be complicated, obviously. The housing authority must apply HUD's rules to the household specific facts. This can be found under Title 24, Code of Federal Regulation 5.609. And again, that will give a much better and in-depth explanation beyond what I'm already trying to give you. So income limits versus rent calculation. These are different steps. Number one, initial eligibility. The housing authority compares the household's gross income to the correct local income. And then number two, the rent calculation. After admission, the housing authority calculates the adjusted income and family share of the rent using HUD's rules, deductions, utility allowances, and payment standards, along with the unit rent. A household can remain on Section 8 after income rises, but later income does not. An income increase does not automatically mean the voucher ends. It means probably a lot of you guys are going to see incomes fluctuate, especially those of you that are gig workers. And therefore, just because you have a little bit of extra income and you report that, it's not going to end your voucher. What will happen is if you continue to exceed the maximum line of income, it takes about a year before they're going to kick you out, okay, or request that there be a change of how your tenancy works, okay? But in the meantime, if it continues to fluctuate, then they'll take that into consideration. Moving on from there, common mistakes to avoid. Using limits for the wrong county or metropolitan area, selecting the wrong household size, meaning the composition or number of people in your household, confusing the 80% low-income limit with the new voucher eligibility, failing to report all income changes or household members. Look, income changes and household members, no matter what they are, even if grandma gives you $5 in your Christmas card, you need to be reporting that. And generally, most housing authorities want to hear about that in under 30 days. A lot of housing authorities may not be so nice about it, and they will actually watch you kill your case. In other words, they'll allow you to go 4, 5, and even 6 months while they know that you should have income you're reporting. They'll allow you to do it, and then all of a sudden you'll receive a termination notice. The reason they do that is sometimes they have to make cutbacks, and so they keep a pool of people that aren't following the rules. They allow them to continue to not follow those rules, and then when they have a board meeting and they need to make cutbacks, you'll be among the first considered. And so it's a terrible way of doing business, but unfortunately, that has been a systematic problem for most PHA or public housing authorities over the course of decades. It's uncommonly known, but now I'm making you aware. HUD confirms that annual income and family size of HCV eligibility and that the applicants generally must meet extreme low income or very low income. And I'd like for you to read more about the HUD's Housing Choice Voucher eligibility. And so I'm going to link that up there so you can get a further explanation. Well, guys, I've enjoyed talking with you today and kind of keeping it concise. I make videos live if you have questions and so on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays at around 10 or 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. To be clear, I service all states for my company because these are federal programs. Therefore, the wisdom of our office does work in all 50 states. Just so you know, our office does require an appointment. I have far too many people that call. Appointments do cost. We don't receive government grants. I'm considered a private solution, okay? If you're having problems navigating the system. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy your week. We're going to be making some additional EDUs on the non-live days, which would be Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, okay? Enjoy your week. We'll see you again. Bye for now.